My name is Elijah Cole. I moved to Los Angeles in 2021 chasing dreams, just like everyone else. But dreams rot fast in this city. I found a cheap one-bedroom apartment on Sunset Boulevard, tucked behind an abandoned jazz club. The building looked like it hadn't seen joy since the 1950s. Cracked stucco, rusted balcony rails, and a faint scent of mildew that never really left. I should have known something was wrong when the landlord said, "The last tenant broke the lease and left everything behind. You can keep whatever's in the apartment. Just don't go into the crawl space under the floor." I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. The first few days were uneventful. I unpacked, worked on my screenplays, and explored the city. But it started with the smell, a sweet, metallic odor from the vents. And then the dreams. I'd wake up gasping, sweaty, heart racing. Always the same vision. A man with no face, digging beneath my floor, whispering my name. And then, at night, I'd hear the dragging, like something pulling itself under the wood. Slowly, closer, each night. I tried to record it, but the audio always came out silent. Not white noise, just silence. One night, I heard a knock on the wall. Not the door, the wall. I knocked back. It replied. 3 taps. I ran outside to the landlord's apartment, but the door was open. The room was empty, dust-covered, as if no one had lived there in years. But I just saw him 3 days ago. Later that week, I noticed something horrifying. I turned off the lights before bed, and from under the crack of the bedroom closet door, a dull red glow leaked out. I opened it. Empty, but the floor was warm, like something had just been there. I leaned down to touch it. That's when I heard it. A voice, female, whispering, "He's not dead. He's waiting for you." I fell back and slammed the door shut. The next day, I did something I should have done earlier. I went to the public records office. I looked up the building, because I know what's coming. The final movement, the closing act. And if you're hearing this, if you're watching this video, if you feel something in the floor, leave, because Samuel was never just a killer. He was a conductor, and the music he played wasn't for us. It was for them, and I'm about to play the last note. In 1962, the jazz club caught fire. A man named Samuel Ray, a saxophone player who lived in my unit, had been suspected of murdering 4 women. The bodies were never found. He was arrested, but escaped custody and disappeared into the tunnels beneath Los Angeles. They never found him. Some say he died in those tunnels. Others say he never left. And last night, I found the trapdoor. It was under the rug, hidden beneath layers of wax paper and nails. I opened it. The air that came out was cold and wet, and it whispered. Not like air escaping, actual whispers. I couldn't make out the words, but I saw something moving in the dark. A figure crawling upward, dragging itself on rotted limbs, wearing a melted saxophone mouthpiece as a necklace. And it had no face. I slammed the door and ran, but I can still hear it, under the floor, whispering. And now, every time I look in the mirror, I see it standing behind me. I didn't sleep after that night. The trapdoor under the floor was real, and whatever I saw, it wasn't a dream. I checked the footage from my phone, but the screen was just black. Not corrupted, just empty. But the sound was there. Low, gasping breaths, like someone crawling on wet cement. The next morning, I called the police. They came, searched the apartment, found the trapdoor. The officer looked down with his flashlight and said, "There's nothing here, just a crawl space and some pipes." But I saw the red glow again. "Maybe you need rest, sir," they said. "It's probably just stress. This city gets to people." And then they left. I needed answers. I started digging online and found a blog run by a retired LAPD detective, Vincent Ortez. He worked the Ray case in the 1980s. I messaged him, told him what I'd seen. He replied in 10 minutes. "You live in Unit B12, don't you? Get out. Now." He agreed to meet me in person. That night, at a diner near Echo Park, He told me the full story. Samuel Ray wasn't just a killer, he said. He was obsessed with sound, believed music could bring things back from the dead. Said the jazz club sat on top of ancient Tongva burial grounds. After the fire, he disappeared into the old Prohibition tunnels beneath LA. We think he never left. People heard music, whispers. Some went missing. He showed me a photo, black and white, blurry. A man crawling in a tunnel, mouth stretched unnaturally wide, with a saxophone reed sewn into his chest. We found that photo under the floorboards of your unit. Same year your landlord vanished. I asked Vincent if he'd come with me. He refused, but he gave me something, an old map of the LA tunnel network. He circled a section beneath Sunset and La Brea. That's where they say he performs. At night, a concert of silence. I couldn't help myself. I waited until 2 a.m. The whispers had started again. My name. Always my name. I opened the trapdoor, flashlight and camera in hand, and descended. The tunnel was narrow, damp, lined with what looked like bricks, but were bone fragments. There were carvings on the walls, symbols, faces, and then music. A faint saxophone, dissonant, notes that bent unnaturally, like metal screaming. I followed it. About 20 minutes in, I reached a room, an old underground stage, probably from the jazz club's speakeasy days. Candles floated without flame. Blood was smeared on the back wall in symbols I couldn't understand. At the center, a body, not skeletal, not fresh, frozen in mid-crawl, mouth open in horror. Hands clawed into the floor. A photo ID hung from his belt. Landlord, Mr. Ramos. And then I heard the music stop. Silence. Then a single breath behind me. I turned. He stood there.
Samuel Ray.
Or what was left of him. No eyes. Skin like melted wax. Bones pressing through his cheeks. And around his neck, a necklace made of teeth. He opened his mouth, and from within, I heard multiple voices, layered, echoing. Stay, play, join the band. Then the bodies around the room began to twitch. Move, crawl. I ran. Through the tunnels, through the red light, through the whispering mouths hidden in the walls. I made it back to the apartment, shut the trapdoor, nailed it shut, pushed the fridge on top. But it's not enough, because I hear them still, tapping, knocking, humming. This city is built on death. They paved Sunset over bones and blood, and forgot to bury the sound. Now, they're playing again, and they want me as the final note. After that night, I didn't leave the apartment. Not because I didn't want to, because I couldn't. Every time I stepped past the front door, a cold pressure would slam into my chest, like being pulled backward. The hallway outside seemed longer, darker, like it was stretching. The city had turned against me, or maybe the building had claimed me. I reached out again to Vincent, the retired detective, but this time someone else picked up. A woman's voice, dry and monotone. Vincent is gone. He went underground. You should have never opened the door, Elijah. Click. The days blurred. I barely slept. I barely ate. My reflection started to change. Dark circles beneath my eyes, teeth slightly longer, and my ears, they felt sensitive, like I could hear things no one else could. I could hear the city breathing. The traffic had rhythm. The wind in the alley hummed a tune. And in the pipes, there was a voice singing. Not lyrics, just a tone. Deep, alien, wrong. I found myself sketching things in my notebook. Strange symbols, perfect circles, musical notations that made no sense. I didn't remember drawing them. One night, I opened my email and found a message from an address I didn't recognize. Subject: The melody remembers you. Body: Samuel was only the instrument. You are the song. Attachment: a scanned birth certificate. My birth certificate. Except, the mother's name was wrong. It said,
Amara Ray. Ray. Samuel Ray.
I called my aunt in Oregon the only family I had. When I asked about my mother, she went silent. Then she said, Elijah, your mother was adopted. She never knew who her real parents were, but she had this scar behind her ear. Said it looked like a musical note. I had the same scar. I'm not just haunted. I'm connected. By blood. That's when the knocking started again. This time, not beneath the floor. From inside the walls. I ripped the drywall open. Behind it, not pipes. Not insulation. Corridor. Brick. Narrow, candlelit. Like a secret passage built into the building itself. I crawled in, the walls pressing against me, the heat rising. And then an opening. A chamber hidden within the walls. Stone floor. Mirrors lining every surface. And in the center, a pedestal. On it, a book made of flesh. Bound in stitched skin. Its title carved with bone. The Silent Melody. I flipped it open. Pages of musical symbols I'd never seen. Blood-soaked lyrics. Names. My name. And a prophecy. The blood of the song shall awaken the void. The final note must be sung by flesh. Suddenly, every mirror lit up. And in them, I didn't see me. I saw Samuel, playing his saxophone, his mouth bleeding, eyes blank. Behind him, an audience of shadows, swaying in rhythm. They turned to face me, and whispered, "You are the melody now." I screamed, through the book. But the mirrors didn't stop. They reflected a future visions. Me, standing on a stage, surrounded by corpses. Me, wearing Ray's necklace of teeth. Me, playing the final note. I ran, crawled back out into the apartment. But everything had changed. The clock read 3:13 a.m., even though it was just past midnight. The TV turned on by itself. Static. Then a voice, my voice, but warped. "Don't fight it. You are what he began." Now I'm sitting here, writing all this down.